Welcome to today's presentation of the 2014 Emerald City Classic, brought to you by Elemental Technologies, perfecting the media experience, and Patagonia, quality gear for athletes demanding high performance. I'm Jackson Kelsey here with Kyle Weisbrod, and we're here to bring you the semifinal matchup of Seattle, the #1 seed Seattle Riot, taking on the 5 seed DC Scandal. And we're underway. Kyle, we have some keys to the game here for Scandal.
So one thing that's really interesting about the Scandal weekend, they're playing with only 14 players currently. So one of the big keys for the Scandal team is to be efficient on offense. And similarly, they need to be smart defensively. They want to save legs as much as possible and not put too much pressure to have long points and drive their legs too much. There's a long weekend, a lot of hard competition against a bunch of really great teams.
Right, very poachy here on defense. Disc swung across, creating lots of space over there on the sidelines. And disc goes up. And Scandal comes down, scores their first offensive point in the game. They take the lead 1-0. That was number 6, Ashley Daly, with the goal.
Nice backhand here, working through that Riot zone defense.
Excuse me, number 55, Molly Roy.
Molly Roy cleaning up the trash there. Charlie Mercer was the defensive player from Riot in closest position. She went up with the first receiver. And Roy with a little celebration dance. So Scandal, despite having 14 players and being the 5 seed here at the tournament, they've been on fire all weekend. They're undefeated, Jackson, coming into this game, winning their pool yesterday 3-0. Riot, on the other hand, had a tough yesterday. They started with a loss to Scandal in the very first game, in a double game point game. Followed that up with a loss to Nemesis before beating Traffic. And then they just came through the quarterfinals against Riot. So they are against Fury in a 12-10 game. So
kind of surprising to see Riot and Fury take on each other in the quarterfinals. They're teams that have ran into each other so many times. It seems like every tournament it's always in the championship game, it's Riot taking on Fury, and for them to have to get up early, really ramp up the energy for two of the best teams in the world.
Well,
for the two best teams in the world, it's uncharacteristic.
I think it speaks to the expanding depth of the women's division. I mean, I think for most commentators these days, it looks like there are 4 title contenders here in the women's division. We're seeing 2 of them right here, Seattle Riot and DC Scandal. San Francisco Fury obviously always in the hunt. And then Boston's Brute Squad stepping up big time. They've had a very dominant weekend so far, and they're matched up in the other semifinals against a surprising Nemesis squad. So Riot, with their 1 and 2 yesterday, have set themselves up for a very hard road, having to go through Fury, Scandal, and if they were to win this game, presumably Brute Squad in the finals of this tournament.
We saw Brute Squad in the first game of our coverage yesterday, and they were looking really sharp. Here's Weatherford with the disc. Breaks around to Gwen Ambler. Now O'Malley with it. Cutter's far downfield. Ambler across to Kingery. Kingery puts it up. Disc is sailing. Fontanet is there.
It's Frankie with the D for Scandal. Looks like Fontanet calling a foul here, but Frankie had a really good position on this. Let's take another look at it. There may have been a little bit of hand-to-hand contact, but Frankie doing exactly what you should be doing as a coach or as a player, and that looks like a great D to me. It looks like, in the end, Fontanet withdrew her foul call. Probably the right call. And now Scandal getting an opportunity for a break early.
Here's O'Connor with the disc. Dumps to Ronval. Now swung across to Wickner. Laura Sadler a little hurried on that one. Stall count maybe getting high. Now Riot with the chance to convert their O point. O'Malley to pick up. Weatherford has her dump. Poach off in the lane, dump to Weatherford. Weatherford to Ambler. Ambler looks downfield. Weatherford now on this sideline. Bradshaw with it. Pick called.
So we have a
Now
slight.
this comes back in. What was that there?
I was going to say we have a slight win with Riot going down one here in Kingery with a shot to Ambler.
Ambler uses her full frame, gets all the way up skies for Riot's first goal of the game. They tie it at ones. Riot seems a little stagnant early on. Their cutters downfield just seem like they're not, their timing is off. They're just a little behind. We're going to take a quick look at the keys to the game here for both teams.
Nice catch there from Ambler. Ambler having really just a standout season within a standout career over the years, but she's playing fantastically for Riot this season.
Now with the keys, for Riot, they got to keep it clean. Really just tighten everything up, limit the turnovers, and maintain defensive intensity.
Yes, Jackson, their quarterfinal game with Fury was a real sloppy game. I was over for a few of the points, multiple turnover points. There are points with 4 or 6 turnovers between the two teams. If Riot can clean that up but maintain the defensive intensity they brought in that game, they're going to be looking really solid here. And then as we mentioned for Scandals, with 14 players, efficient offense and smart defense will really be key for them.
Yeah, really conserving their energy as much as possible.
You know, speaking with Coach Alex Gesquier for Scandal before the game, I asked him, you know, with 14 players, are you doing anything differently to make things a little more efficient? He said, nope, we're going with straight O and D lines, and we're just running our standard system. So expect to see what you expect out of Scandal's offense, which is efficient, quick movement of the disc, and hitting open receivers.
Pull goes up. O'Connor brings it down. Now with Johnston. Across to White. Up the field now with Daly. Back to the middle. That's Itoa.
I believe it's Ito.
Ito. Now McClellan. Back to Johnston.
Angelica Boyden with the D, but I believe she
Boyden
tripped up her cutter there, and I think there's going to be a foul call. Angelica Boyden really having a fantastic season. I think there's been a lot of talk about a lot of these players that have been returning from Riot from injury, but Angelica Boyden has stepped up her game, Jelly as she's known, and I've seen her make plays all over the field.
Yeah, she's doing a lot for them on the defensive side. Lots of touches. As a handler, always seems to be calm and collected. And then Scandal trying to break around. Disc sails just a little too far. Now Riot with the early chance to break. Rory Titcomb to pick up. Titcomb really the focal point of the defensive team's offense.
I mean, she has such huge throws, so she really expands the field and expands the space that's dangerous on the field. Quick releases as well.
And around now with Boyden. Boyden across to McKibben. Boyden goes up line. Back with it. Fakes the huck. And the disc is D'd by Johnston. An assertive D there. Johnston across to Daly. Daly marked by Davis. Dump to White, back to Johnston. Johnston inside break. To Ito. Ito puts it out too far, looking for White. Tall receiver. The wind may be affecting that one. It's coming from the far right corner across the field to the closer left corner. Now Titcomb brings it to the line. ID clears out space. Now Burstein with it. And Burstein putting it out to Boyden. Disc is not going to hang up enough. O'Connor picks it up.
You got to think these long points really play to the advantage of Riot here, given the numbers they've brought versus the numbers that Scandal has at their disposal right now. Especially for this Scandal offensive line. A long point followed by another long point, if they get broken, will be very difficult.
Perfect upline throw from Johnston, just past two outstretched defenders. We have a pick call here. O'Connor with it now on the sidelines, marked by Boyden. Johnston clears up line. And O'Connor takes a shot to the end zone. And Scandal scores their offensive point. All points staying on serve. No break so far. I definitely agree that the increase in turnovers is playing to the advantage of Riot. Maybe we won't see it here early on in the game, but as the game goes on, as the teams become a little more tired, be interested to see how Riot responds to Scandal maybe wearing out a little bit.
Yeah, and I think, that's all, 14 players on top of an already very exhausting format. 3 games yesterday, and every single one of those games is against a top team in the country, so everyone's getting really tough matchups. Again, talking to Alex Geske-Dutchy before the game, he said, one thing that's nice about having 14 is I don't have to worry about the subbing and playing time. Everyone's getting plenty of playing time out here. But you do have to worry about legs and fitness. They lost Opie Payne, one of their star players this week with what appears to be a hip flexor injury. They're also missing a couple other players just who couldn't make it through weddings and other injuries. But a couple of big players, Anne Mercier, longtime player for the Capitals, a big piece of their team last season, and then Kath Ratcliffe, another big player for them, is not here this weekend. So Scandal performing very well considering they're down 3 of their top players.
Pull towards Riot. O'Malley brings it down. Centers to Weatherford. Cutters cut across. Now Kwai with it. Kwai dumps to Ambler. Ambler with the swing to Goudreau. O'Malley in the middle. O'Malley pumps. Kwai coming across. Kwai to Cardenas. Cardenas back to Kwai. Mark still getting set. Kwai with the fake. Kwai with the inside shot to Cardenas. And Riot with smooth offense on that one. No turns there. It seemed like they were executing their system a bit more.
Yeah, there's one point where O'Malley had the disc in the middle of the field and waited for Kwai. She was open on the open side for a reset, but waited for Kwai to get to the break, and that really opened up their offense as Kwai had a look. And that Cardenas dish back to Kwai gave a lot of threatening looks to Kwai again. And then Cardenas finally finishing that one off for Riot. Really nice offense here. Here's that little look to put Kwai in power position. No cuts right away, but then Cardenas responding and stepping up in the end zone for that IO throw.
Scandal defender there. I think she was just lagging a little bit behind on Cardenas. Cardenas, one of the fastest players in the women's game. Always making cuts, a huge focal point for Riot's offense. Always looking for her in the end zone. It's a little Energizer bunny. Doesn't seem like she ever runs out of energy.
Explosive, great nose to the disc. When the disc's in the air and near her, she makes plays.
Riot looking to get their first break here. Defensive line of McDowell, Zonizer, Crayley. Those 3 all playing together at Oregon in college. Now Johnston with it in the middle. Riot in a zone set. Crayley hanging out deep. Scandal able to break through. Now Alicia White with it. Alicia White looks downfield. Dumps. Johnson almost with the D. O'Connor with it. O'Connor backhand to Amy Hudson. Now O'Connor up line. Back to Daly. Falls down, maintains possession. Alicia White. Oh, that one just off the hands of Daly. McDowell to Zonizer. Now with Carr in the middle. No one downfield. Zonizer streaking deep. Carr looks her off. Swung across to Stern. Now with Kingery. Looks like we have a pick called.
Really liked Riot's quick transition off of the turnover, looking to push the pace. Again, another great strategy when you're playing against a team that's shorthanded, has a short roster or doesn't sub very, very deeply. Really makes them a little more tired and also forces switches to pick up on things, and so you get better matchups.
Another stoppage of play here. Zonizer with the disc. Daly marking her. McDowell in the lane. Two dumps are Stern and Johnson for Zonizer. Dump now with Stern. Back to Zonizer. Zonizer looking downfield. Back to Stern. Swung around to Johnson. O'Connor cuts off the swing. Looking inside now with Carr. Nora Carr really stepping up, as you were saying last year, how they had a lot of players that came down. Wow. Jeez, Bailey Zonizer.
I think she may have dropped that one when she came down. That was an amazing catch, but as she hit the ground, I think it came out of her hand. And good spirit from Zonizer. I don't think anyone else was calling that one down.
Yeah, definitely looked like she caught it. Johnston now. Scandal looking to score this offensive point across to White. Riot staying in their zone offense. Lots of big floaty throws here, trying to get around the cup. O'Connor with it. Back to Hudson. Hudson up to White. White slings it in there for Roy, or Coy, excuse me. And Johnston with the flick to Ito. And Scandal. Riot had an opportunity to get a break there, but Scandal on the impressive bid from Zonizer. Good spirit there from her not knowing, or not catching the disc as she ran out.
Here's another look at that catch and the drop. It looked like, I think she caught it with her right hand and then it came out, she ended up with her left hand. Here's another look. Yeah, right hand, and then it hits the ground and it ends up in her left hand, and she knows it. No one else really saw it though, it happened so quick. And Scandal here doing a great job taking advantage of that Riot transition from zone to man, and Johnston with a pretty forehand here to Ito. Johnston playing a really big role for this Scandal team for the last couple of years, and she's still very young, a senior at University of Virginia, one of the top Callahan candidates going into this college season. But of course I think she has some club dreams on her mind for a second title. I imagine she's also a leading candidate for the U23 team this year.
Definitely a focal point of Scandal's offense. The pull goes up. Just out of bounds. Weatherford to take it at the brick. Scandal coming down in a zone set. Jorgenson sitting deep for Scandal. Ambler with it, back to Weatherford. Trying to get that quick movement to break through the cup. To Ambler. Back to Kwai. Swung across to Davis. Davis puts it deep to McKibben. Jorgenson's there. Just sails over the head of McKibben. Nice pressure from Jorgenson.
And that's exactly what Scandal wants to see in that zone set. Jorgenson can just occupy so much space. Her speed, the top in the women's division, so fast, so tall, and so athletic. And so hoping for one of those big hanging throws and just a little bit of pressure forces that turnover.
And Scandal looking for it, battling for position. Davis able to get there. Looks like we might have a call on the play. Kimberly Beach says no foul. Riot's disc. Scandal here in the zone. Now Kwai with it in the middle to Davis. Cup tightens up. And Davis throws it directly to number 23. That's Lauren Sadler. And Beach just off the fingertips. Coach Alex calling for them to set that zone.
And Weatherford burns a timeout here. I guess their zone is a little too sloppy.
And as the players take their first timeout, we will too. Stay tuned for more action here from Burlington. Welcome back here to Burlington. Weatherford with the disc. Scandal, their zone really is working out, Kyle. Forcing lots of turns.
Yeah, I mean, I really think that Jorgenson in the backfield provides so much ability for the players in the front to clam in and make a lot of movement and put a lot of pressure on, because she can occupy so much space back here. You can almost see her baiting these long throws. Smalls for Riot has a lot of deep space, but Jorgenson knows she can make that up.
Weatherford looking to break through. Stall count getting high. Riot going back, now around to Kwai. Bounces off. Able to maintain. Now Blade over the top to Weatherford. Weatherford inside to McKibben. McKibben to Weatherford. Near D from Gronval. Now Kwai on the sidelines.
Looks like a travel call, and Weatherford's going to bring this one back. I like that movement from Riot, though. They busted through the cup, and they had a sequence of throws there that looked really nice. Just ahead of the cup, not letting the cup set up.
Weatherford with it. Pumps now across to Ambler.
Scandal's transition now into man defense, but some poaching off of the B handler here.
Across to Khalees. Now with Ambler. Weatherford comes in. Across the field now. McKibben cuts in. She clears out. Up the line to Ambler. Kwai streaking deep. Ambler looks her off. Now Kwai under. Looks her off again. Dumped it. Weatherford. Weatherford to Kwai in the middle. And Kwai puts it out to space for Cardenas. And there she goes. Those legs just churning. She really is. It seems like every single time that Riot is scoring, it's Khalees just burning towards the end zone for the goal. Yeah,
Cardenas. I mean, it was a great look from Kwai here. Good vision, seeing this cut develop, and catches the poaching defender flat-footed, and Cardenas able to run onto it. And that time, Jorgenson not able to make up the distance. I mean, that's two fast players here in this division. But Cardenas has enough steps to easily run this one down.
I like seeing Scandal come down in that zone. I think they need to stick with it, because right when they switched to man is really when Riot was able to start working it through and gain yards and then find open spots.
Well, when we talk about efficiency too, I mean, that defensive set allows for resting on defense, for not as much churning and running and being challenged by those constant cutting. Certainly some players in that cup have to work really hard, but there's a lot of players who can conserve energy in a zone set, and that can really benefit you over the course of a long weekend or a day.
Especially with the short roster
with a short roster, exactly. So we're still on serve here at 3-3, and Riot to pull.
Wind picking up a bit more now. There's Johnston with it. In the center with O'Connor. O'Connor marked by Johnston. Now on the sidelines with Coy. Johnston in the middle to White. White to Coy. Coy pivots back to White on the side. In the middle with Johnston. Bernstein on her. O'Connor. Tickham with a near D on Daly. Daly up the field to White. Scandal with good offense here. Now Coy, marked by Carr. Looking dump, here's Johnston. Johnston looking for the inside.
Great
now
D from
to
Kelly Johnson down in the end zone.
Now dump to Daly. And up the line to Johnston, and Johnston scores still on serve here. We haven't seen any breaks. Excellent, excellent offense there from Scandal, moving the disc at will. A near D from Tickham, but as she went through, Daly able to find White in the middle and eventually scores with Johnston up the line.
And you got to imagine this is exactly what Scandal wants to see. Johnston controlling the disc. Great pacing, great movement, and great efficiency. Just players that are open. When players are not open, they're clearing out, and Scandal just gets a fill cut in there, and they're constantly moving the disc. That's the efficient offense that Scandal needs to be successful in this game and for the rest of the weekend.
Going back to the keys to the game, one of the keys here for Riot was maintaining defensive intensity. It seems like on that one, it seems like they're just kind of chasing right now, not really dictating what Scandal's doing. Scandal able to get a lot of space on the field, move the disc where they want to, hit their swings. Riot just a step or two behind.
So notable here, Alika Johnston is staying on for this D point. Coach Guescame must really want this break here. It's the first time we've seen someone switch over from the O-line to the D-line for Scandal.
Ambler receives the pull in the middle with Weatherford. And Scandal comes down in their zone. They were effective last time with this. See if they can generate a couple more turns. Kwai to O'Malley. O'Malley, big fake in the middle with Kwai. Back to Ambler. To Weatherford. Ambler breaks through the cup. Now the cup's set again. Ambler with the Blady backhand to O'Malley. Kwai gaining. Now Kingery. To Ambler. And the rifle to Cardenas. Weatherford looking downfield. Scandal transitions to man. O'Malley fakes the backhand. O'Malley sticking with Weatherford. Weatherford eventually gets open. Weatherford to Kingery. Kingery immediately looks towards her dump to Weatherford. Weatherford puts the inside flick. Man defense there for Scandal, able to force a turn. Now their first opportunity to get a break here.
And Johnston heading over to pick it up.
Looks like the move's sort of paying off for Coach Alex.
Yeah, big opportunity here for Scandal.
Johnston marked by O'Malley. Jorgenson clears in. Now Sadler under.
Ambler almost getting the D there.
Gronval puts it out there to Jorgenson, and Jorgenson comes down with it over Hannah Kwai. Puts the blade, and Beach with her second drop of the game.
And that's a tough one.
That
Jorgenson
is a tough one.
Going over the top there. Beach wide open, not a lot of pressure. But the disc was coming down, that big lefty forehand, and she just couldn't hold on to it.
I don't know. What do you think? Maybe she needs to lose the gloves? Not working at the moment.
Yeah, maybe. You know, I've come around. I think I'm a fan of gloves these days.
I just could never do it.
I never did it while playing, but I have a lot of players that I coach that wear gloves and seem to dig it.
And Fontanet rifles it downfield, and Jorgenson's there. Jorgenson all over the place for Scandal in this game.
It's that closing speed. I mean, she has got so much athleticism, and Scandal's defense relies so heavily on that. It allows everyone else to play different roles, and it also just baits so many throws that in other games you think are open, not open against Scandal.
Gronval with it on the side. Now with Sadler. Sadler back to Gronval. Gronval puts it up to Jorgenson. Cardenas is there. And Jorgenson. Jeez.
Well, Cardenas,
goodness.
For all her athleticism, is giving it 4 inches in that matchup, and Jorgenson just read it perfectly and went up for it.
This goes up to Johnston. Johnston keeps it in bounds. Marked by Ambler. Scandal looking to break. And Johnston puts the backhand to Sadler. And there's Kate Kingery coming through. Big D there. Opportunity for Scandal to break it. They're unable because Kingery says no.
Yeah, I can't imagine that's what Scandal wanted in that situation. 5 yards outside the end zone, trying to throw a 30-yard throw across a lot of traffic and just preying on the fact that the defense wasn't aware that Sadler was open. Kingery making the play. You know, giving Riot this opportunity back, especially after bringing Johnston back over from the O-line. They don't want Johnston playing a ton of possessions on this point. Right? It's really important that they're efficient when they get the disc.
Right, they have to maintain her energy. If they are able to win this game, then they have a whole nother one, and you don't want one of your best throwers to be too tired.
Let's take another look at that Jorgenson catch, just going up above Cardenas here. You know, there's been a couple of throws on this possession where we just think,
that
was the first one.
She just made so many that you didn't know. And here's Jorgenson getting a D. I think Jorgenson wants the Patagonia play of the game.
Yeah, she's definitely got the point of the game so far. I mean, I think there's so many times here where Scandal just thinks, well, we've got the best player on the field right now. We're going to make this happen.
Exactly. Jorgenson getting it done for her team.
You know, I think Riot calling this timeout, they're about to check the disc, and I imagine what they're saying in the timeout is, hey, let's stop throwing this one up to Jorgenson. I don't think this is that's really paying off for us.
Scandal looks like they're going to come down in their zone set. Riot having to go into the wind. Weatherford taps it in. Dump to Ambler. Now with Weatherford. Back to Ambler. Now with Weatherford. Looks like there's lots of very stagnant out there. And there's Hannah Kwai with the drop. Maybe a little tough on that floaty scooper from Weatherford.
You know, again, I think that Jorgenson in the back allows everyone else to pack it in, and it puts a lot of pressure, and taking out a whole aspect of that Riot zone offense has to change the way they play.
That time, Beach able to bring it in. Pancake on top, and Scandal gets the first break of the game. They open up a 2-point lead.
Yeah, good assertive offense all the way around for Scandal this time. Not taking any risks. Here's that drop on the scuba from Kawhi. Unable to come up with it. She's not happy with herself. And Johnston swinging across and right into it. Beach watching it right into her hands.
Not dropping that one. The red zone offense really, they didn't really do a whole lot. They just kind of dumped and swung, and Hannah Kwai just out of position. Beach able to go straight to the live side corner and pancake it for the easy goal.
We got to imagine that's what the Scandal offense is looking for. Certainly more than that throw that we saw earlier from Johnston over the top to Sadler. You know, a little more definitive, a little more predictable offense that just relies on your skills and athleticism and not just taking advantage of your head down defense of the opponent. So Scandal with the big break. Johnston on the field pays off. And they bring her off the field this time.
Now the offensive team will be playing downwind. We'll see if maybe we'll get a couple more hucks here.
It's a very different line than we saw in the last point. As we mentioned yesterday in the coverage, Riot employs not an O and D line, but a system of packages. And they have 3 different man packages, 3 different man O and man D packages on each side. And this looks like almost a wholesale from that line that was in previously.
Johnson with it. Scandal staying in that zone. Boyden with the pump. Dump to Tickham. Ooh, and a near D there from Sadler. Tickham towards the middle with Bradshaw. Bradshaw across to Boyden. That cup is all the way around. Johnson right through to Carr. Carr to Titcomb. Titcomb back to Johnson. Now Johnson to Titcomb. Across to Boyden. Boyden looks off Zonizer, now finds Titcomb. Titcomb to Zonizer. Zonizer fakes the backhand in the middle with Carr. Lots and lots of handler movement here. And as Scandal transitions two-man, Riot able to start working it down the field. Boyden with it now in the red zone. Carr with it on the side. Zonizer in the lane. Zonizer clears out. Carr forced to dump to Titcomb. Looks like we have a contested stall here. Jorgenson on the mark.
I don't see the observers getting involved. Looks like they're still discussing it. Still a lot of discussion. Surprising amount of discussion for a stall. Seems like stall is pretty easy to resolve here.
Either you got it or you didn't. It's contested or it's not.
Yeah. Well, it looks like they're going to agree to send it to Titcomb.
So now Titcomb coming in on stall 0. Carr falls back as the dump. Titcomb fakes the around. Now with Carr. Carr to Johnson. Johnson looks at Titcomb. Finds her. Boyden looking in. Now to Boyden on the sidelines. Riot maybe 20 yards outside their end zone. Now to Titcomb. Good defense, good downfield defense here from Scandal, forcing Riot to go back. Now with Carr. And back more to Titcomb. Across to Johnson. Now with Titcomb, and Titcomb around to Boyden. Nora Carr hanging out in the back. Now with Titcomb to Boyden. And Zonizer streaks to the cone, and Boyden able to find her. Very, very patient offense there from Riot.
Well, I do agree. Definitely patient offense from Riot. One thing I noticed about that Riot end zone offense is the shape of their offense seemed to change throughout the course of this possession. They started with one reset back. At a later point, they had 2 resets back. The reset on the open side was changing position. At one point, it was 45. At another later point, it was 90 degrees. And I think that speaks to a bit of a lack of discipline from Riot's end zone offense, something that may need to work on to be a little more efficient there. You know, they might not have to take so many throws back there. At first, it was very clear that they had a dump at the 45 and the first in the front of the stack working it, and then that got a lot sloppier over the course of that possession.
You got to credit Scandal for playing hard downfield defense, too. They were doing an excellent job taking away a lot of the cuts coming from that vertical stack, forcing Riot backfield.
And I think that's absolutely right. I think that when that pressure comes, that's when that discipline in that end zone offense is so necessary, Jackson, because you're going to face some defenses that are obviously going to be able to shut down your first and second looks when you get to the red zone. It's how do you manage that and get to your third and fourth looks still doing what you want to do. So there you see Surge, Sarah Griffith talking to Kelly Johnson, new player for Riot. Sarah Griffith rolled her ankle yesterday and is out today. Luckily, the injury doesn't look too bad. She's been walking around without crutches and a very minor limp.
O'Connor with it in the middle to White. Riot coming down in man. Daly in the middle. Daly puts it deep. Throw does not quite work out. Now Riot with an opportunity to break, going upwind. Titcomb picks up. Bradshaw clears out. Finds the wide open McDowell. McDowell dumps to Stern. Back to Stern. We do have a call downfield. to Stern. Now with Titcomb. Titcomb back to Stern. Stern to Kwai. Bradshaw cuts in. Kwai finds her.
Looks like we got another pick call here. This one going back to Kawhi.
White on the mark, Kwai with it. Now with Stern. Back to Titcomb. Right in a horizontal offense here. Kwai fakes the deep.
Some really aggressive poaching from Scandal, especially off of the far handlers. And it really looks nice, putting a lot of pressure on Riot to have to find different spaces than they were anticipating being open.
Titcomb looking with their dump. Titcomb sticks with Stern. Able to find her. Now to Kwai. Kwai to Bradshaw. Nice one-handed grab there. We do have a call. Pick called. Excuse me, we have a foul downfield called. Daly with the foul call on McDowell. Still some discussion going on about exactly what was happening. Just going to stay with Bradshaw.
You know, Jackson, I have to say I'm surprised by the length of some of these calls and resolutions. Seems like they could be resolved much quicker. The observers could be a little more assertive in this game,
I wonder if
things moving.
Maybe it's a strategy from Scandal to maintain some of their energy.
Wouldn't be a bad idea for them.
Only 14 players.
Well, it's not as much fun for us to watch.
Do you have a pick call? Mercer with it. Right, going into their end zone offense.
Stall coming in on 4 here. Riot with the opportunity to break, only a few yards out right now.
Inside. That one was a little iffy.
I think Titcomb was the intended receiver there, but she kind of stumbled, and Kawhi able to pick up the trash, luckily. So Riot getting the break back. They're all very happy about this, but again, not the prettiest end zone offense. There's Titcomb slipping, and Kawhi recognizing and stepping up.
Now the offense forced to go into the wind.
So it looks like Scandal calls a timeout, and you know, this is a heady timeout here from Gesque. You know, with the offense getting broken, this is their first time having to go 2 points in a row.
So as the players take a timeout, we're going to take a quick break here. Join us for more action here at ECC. Welcome back to Sunday's coverage of the 2014 Emerald City Classic. Going to get the conclusion here of the women's semifinal matchup between Seattle Riot and DC Scandal. Riot able to get their first break, bringing it back on serve. Now forcing Scandal to go up line, or up into the wind. There's Mercer with the pull for Riot. O'Connor brings it down, centers to Johnston. Now across to Daly. There's Coy cutting in the middle. Now dump to Johnston. Marked by Davis. Across to Coy. Coy marked by McKibben. And there's Ito cutting under. And a big hand block there from Sarah Eide. Charlie Eide. Stall count getting high. Ito forced to go downfield.
Gets all of it.
Whap.
You know, in the little I've seen Riot play this weekend, I've seen them get a whole bunch of point blocks. They've been on fire with their marks.
Mercer with it in the middle. Across to Boyden. Davis clearing out. Back to Mercer. Mercer looks downfield, finds Idy. And Idy trying to holster that one, just loses control of it. Now Ito under, and there's Daly streaking deep. Ito putting it out for Daly on her horse and brings that one down. She just turned it on.
God, you gotta love that transition after that turnover. Ito taking off, and then Daly recognizing what was happening, that Ito was gonna get the disc out into space, and there was a whole lot of space to work with, and getting on her horse against Butters, Katie Crayley from Riot, who is no slouch herself when it comes to speed, but Daly just creating tons of separation here. There's the turnover as Charlie Eady tried to hold that one back. And Ito recognizing, getting it, and Daly at the track.
She was cruising.
I mean, I think she started that possession 20 yards behind where that turnover happened and just took off immediately.
She just saw all that space and went for the glory. You could almost see Riot. They were so jazzed up after that big block from Idy. Then Idy has it in the middle just I don't really know what you could call that. Just a total meltdown. It's one of those ones where you're trying to throw it across, and you can see that, oh, it's just not there, and so you try to holster it, but it's too late, and it just kind of spins around in your finger. We've all been there before. And as that happened, you could just see Riot their body language just kind of went down, and Scanlon got really excited at the opportunity to score, and they took full advantage of it. Daly cruising down there.
Yeah, I mean, it's really all about the power of the fast break. I mean, at certain points, the fast break is so devastating because it's energy conserving. It's also momentum driving, right? That kind of score is a momentum driving score. You feel it in your energy. It's so quick, and it can be devastating. And particularly the person who made the turnover, where you feel like your turnover led directly to that score. There's no hiding behind it.
Ambler hammers over the top to Kwai. Scandal sitting in that zone. Three-woman cup. Jorgensen deep, baiting the throw. Now O'Malley with it. Across to Weatherford. Weatherford looking for Ambler. And Ambler puts it around Jorgensen, but the wind, I think, kind of knocked that one down as it was into the wind. It was pretty blady. Gets knocked down. Jorgensen doesn't quite get the D, but definitely her presence affected that throw.
Yeah, you know, I wonder exactly. When Ambler went to go throw that throw, I wonder if she thought, oh, man, I know Jorgensen's back there somewhere. I better be careful with this one. Maybe try to put it on a little more on a rope than she would have otherwise. And that angle definitely forced the turnover. Jorgensen getting the disc on fire. A little contact downfield between Beach and O'Malley.
Now Gronval with it, marked by Kwai. Beach on the side. In the middle with Johnston. And Johnston burns a timeout. Big point here. Big point here for Scandal with an opportunity to get a break back. Close in on taking half.
And again, they have Johnston on the field here for another break opportunity. Effective, and you know, to make the most use of her, definitely pulling her over and scoring on this one is big for them.
Yeah, the one break that they did get in this game was when she was on the field. What do you think Scandal's going to do here? I kind of feel like Jorgensen deep is the best option.
Well, I think that's what we'd expect is, you know, some play that isolates Jorgensen out in space and gives her room to work is huge. But, you know, Riot's also got to be expecting that and trying to figure out ways that they can poach and put extra pressure on Jorgensen.
Jorgensen just coming up huge today.
It does look like what we're going to see. They're in a bit of a kind of modified horizontal stack where they've got two players, Wickner and Sadler on the sideline, and then Beach and Jorgensen in the lane. Jorgensen occupying the strong side, lots of space to work with, being covered by Gardenius. And the defense doesn't look really heads up here for Riot in terms of helping out on Jorgenson.
And the disc does go up to Jordan. Oh, but Beach. I think those gloves are working out for her now. She's able to save the disc, and Jorgenson collects that break. You know, for the two mishaps that Beach had earlier in the game, dropping a potential break, she's really making up for it now. She's the one that scored the goal on the break, and then on this point, the stall count was getting high, disc goes up, and Beach able to come down with it.
It was a fantastic play, and I think that was the intended play here. I think that that they were using Jorgenson as a decoy and Beach playing to go deep, but that was a great catch. Oh no, I think you're right. It was definitely a broken play. You can see Johnson there looking to the sideline and just throwing that up at a high stall count. Fantastic play by Beach. Beach telling Jorgenson, I don't think you've got that play of the game wrapped up. And then who else but Jorgenson creating space for Frankie. Separation, makes an easy throw, forehand for the goal. And Scandal getting their break. 7-5, looking to take it to half. I'm really impressed with Scandal playing down a lot of players, including a lot of key players, and playing as well as they're playing. And you know, sometimes when you go to a tournament with a small roster, it can lead to that increased chemistry because you start to get on the same page. You know who you're playing with every single point you go out on the field.
Right, you're not changing out one or two players each time. It's the same 7 and the same 7.
Well, whatever Scandal's doing, it's working for them here against a very strong Riot squad.
Kwai with it on the sides. Scandal in their zone set. 3-woman cup. Weatherford looking for something, finds Kwai. Kwai all the way across the field to Cardenas. Up line to Kingery. Kingery to Tickham. Tickham to Ambler. Ambler looks. Scandal staying in their zone, and now the man call as they transition. Let's see if Riot can take advantage. Beautiful throw there from Weatherford to Cardenas, and Kwai just outside the end zone. Kwai with the hammer just over the top. Cardenas unmarked. Her defender was poaching out in the lane, and Kwai recognized, throws a cheeky little hammer over the top. Riot able to score.
Yeah, nice offense here from Riot. Kwai really driving this one with a couple of great throws. A big forehand through the middle of the field, across the field. And then here on the goal line with this nice little scuba or hammer over the top to Cardenas for the goal.
It always seems that as Scandal transitions from their zone defense to their man defense, that is the point when Riot is taking advantage. Just that those 3 or 4 seconds where everyone is getting back and they're readjusting and realizing that there's a live side and a dead side, and now a zone of a side of the field that we're supposed to take away. As that transition is happening, Riot able to take advantage of most of those opportunities.
Yeah, they're great in those transitions, and you know, I think when you talk about teams and effectiveness, I think those points, those transition points are where it matters the most to transition before the other team does. So whether you're going from zone to man, defense or offense, if you can make that transition first, you're in better shape. From your regular field offense to your end zone offense, if you can make that transition first, you're in really good shape. And then obviously we talked about the fast break earlier. If you can transition from O to D or D to O faster, those are where those advantages happen. And teams that are coached well, you can see that in their transition. Scandal with their transition from defense to offense, and Riot in their transition from zone to man offense are areas where that coaching is and the drilling has really paid off for them. So Scandal here with an opportunity to take half. Notable, you know, you'd think up a break here they would stack this line. Jorgenson not on the field for this offensive point for Scandal.
Maybe she needs a breather. She's been doing so much for them on the field. Maybe she's taking a break. Now White with it on the sidelines. White to Johnston. Johnston across the field to Ito. And Ito puts it up to Johnston.
Lots of traffic.
Johnston comes in. Zonizer with the collision. Play on. Johnston unaffected. White with it in the middle. White to Daly. Dumps to Johnston. Johnston fakes. Swings across to Hudson. Hudson now with White. White inside, and Daly catches the goal, her second in a row. Second of the last 3. And Scandal able to take half here on Riot with only 14 players. That zone really suffocating Riot.
Gotta love the toughness here from Johnston. Johnston takes a big hit from Kawhi, gets knocked down and stands back up and doesn't even react, just keeps going. And I think, again, you know, at that moment, everyone on Riot's looking to see what's going to get called or what's going to happen, and she just plays through it and gets the disc moving. And that assertiveness from Scandal translates directly into this goal, and Riot and Scandal takes half on a nice throw from Alicia White.
So as Scandal takes half, we're going to take a quick break in the action. Join us here for more action in the women's semifinals of the 2014 Emerald City Classic. Welcome back to the second half of the women's semifinal matchup between the #1 seed Seattle Riot down against DC Scandal. Scandal getting it done with a couple of players here. Alika Johnston and Sandy Jorgenson. Jorgenson making a ton of huge plays in the air. Alika getting it done with her throws.
Alika Johnston trying to hide there, number 20. Johnston really playing a big part for Scandal. Scandal with 2 breaks in this game, both of them when Johnston switched over from offense to defense and then kind of drove their offense after they created turnovers. Jorgenson, of course, the one creating those turnovers and then making big plays on the receiving end of some throws.
So now Scandal set to pull. Riot will look to get out of this hole that they've dug themselves in. Pull goes out of bounds. Weatherford brings it to the brick.
Yeah, Riot in a very tough position here. Down 8-6, they need 2 breaks to win, and they're starting on offense going upwind, or what is nominally the upwind side. We've got kind of a crosswind here, but this is not an easy point. And Scandal's zone in which they're playing again here has proven very effective against this Riot offense, especially against this Riot line that we've seen. They've really struggled with the zone.
Ambler with it in the middle, blades around to Kingery. Kingery fakes to Kwai, back to Weatherford. Now with O'Malley. Scandal staying in that zone. It's almost a 4-person cup here. And Beach almost comes in to get the D. Now she's out of position. Kingery swings across to Weatherford. Weatherford in the middle with Cardenas. Cardenas fakes to Weatherford. Now here's the transition. Riot able to capitalize on most transitions. Ambler to Kwai. Kwai inside to Cardenas, and again on that transition, Riot capitalizes. 2 throws after the transition, they are able to score.
Well, that connection too is really helping Riot. That is the 4th time Kawhi has connected with Cardenas for a score here in this game. And that is something that Scandal should be keying on a little bit. Whenever Kawhi has a disc, she is looking for Cardenas, and Cardenas is cutting for it.
It's good patient offense there from Riot. They didn't get too frazzled. They allowed the Scandal players to get a little bit out of position. And once they were out of position and they were transitioning, Riot takes advantage and scores their first offensive point of this second half.
You know, as close and as impressive as this game has been so far, Jackson, I expect we're going to see 2 very different teams come nationals. Both these teams coming off of a break here after the World Championships, the World Club Championships. Riot finishing 1st, Scandal finishing 3rd. And Scandal, as we mentioned before, missing a bunch of players, some from injury, as well as some from weddings and other events right now. I'm sure those players are all planning as much as possible to be back for the series and here in Texas, in Frisco, Texas, for the club championships. And Riot, as we mentioned before, missing Sarah Griffith, who is obviously a big impact player for Riot.
There's Mercer with the pull. Hudson picks up, centers to Johnston. Riot a little slow to get down on defense. Now they close in. Mercer on. Johnston around to Coy. Coy to Daly. Daly looking downfield. Daly puts it up. And Ito almost able to sky for it. That's Molly McKeon getting the D.
That's a tough turnover for Scandal. Ito actually had some space. McKeon played that disc not very well, was pretty far off the back, but Ito went up a little stronger than she needed to. She could have backed it up a little bit and easily pulled this one down.
She must have felt pressure there from McKeon. Oftentimes, when you feel pressure like that. Ooh, and then there's Riot giving the disc back. Zonizer unclear whether or not the throw was to her. Now White just outside the end zone. White puts the hammer across. Hudson gets it. McDowell reels in on the mark. McDowell takes away the around. Now the disc dumps to White. White looking towards the end zone to O'Connor. Boyden on the mark. O'Connor looking over the top. Fakes to Johnston. And
Great defense from Nora Carr there on Johnston, and now Johnston gets the disc.
Pick called.
Yeah, both teams are showing really strong pressure on the downfield cutters in these end zone offenses. Good defensive pressure.
Here there's Daly wide open on the sides, but Carr's mark is strong, and Alicia White toes the line, and Scandal able to convert that offensive point, increasing their lead back to 2. Riot with an opportunity to get a break, but just a small miscommunication between McDowell and Zonizer.
Yeah, that's a tough turnover here from McDowell and Zonizer that translates into the score as Johnston finds Alicia White. You know, that's one you really don't want to get back on a defensive point for a Riot, and especially right on that upwind goal line. Makes it very easy for Scandal. So Scandal maintain that 2-goal, 1-break lead here in the second half. And it looks like, again, Johnston is going to swing over to the D-line. There's Alicia White. Alicia White, longtime player, played for Fury for a number of years before coming over to Scandal. Played on the U.S. World Games team back in 2009. There's Jorgenson and Johnston, our dynamic combo today.
See if they can get it done here on the defensive point for Scandal. That's Wickner with the pull. Tickham brings it down. Centers to Weatherford. Scandal, of course, coming down in the zone. Fontanet dumps to Weatherford. Weatherford looks down. Now dumps to Tickham. Fontanet really stretching deep, trying to occupy Jorgenson, create some space here. Now there's Tickham with it. And Tickham able to find Goudreau. Fontanet wisely pulling Jorgenson out, creates that space for Goudreau. Tickham in the middle now with Ambler. Ambler on the side to Weatherford.
And here's the Scandal transition.
In the middle with Cardenas. Looks like we might have had a call, but players play on. Now with Tickham. Tickham with that low release backhand to Fontanet. Fontanet looks for Tickham. Fontanet finds Tickham. Scandal able to holster that transition, and that time they generate a D. Now Scandal with an opportunity to open up a 3-point lead. Got to think Johnston's going to be a big part of whatever happens on the offense here. Jorgenson in, guarded by Kwai. Kwai poaching way deep on Jorgenson. Now Wickner with it, rips it over. And they're looking for Jorgenson. The disc is up, and Kwai unable to get a read on the disc. And Scandal gets a break, increases their lead to 3.
And that's just a trust throw. I mean, Jorgenson didn't even have steps on Kawhi there as that disc went up. I think they saw Jorgenson take off and head out there at top speed and just put up. Here's Johnston with a really heads-up poach block. She was poaching off that B handler who was really wide, Cardenas, and able to step into the middle here. Again, easy turnover. And she looked to fast break it, but no one was picking up the disc. And there's Jorgenson. When she hits top speed, I think Scandal just wants to put it out there to space. Kawhi, I think, could have made a much better play on that one, but felt beat.
She almost looked like she gave up on that one.
Yeah, she wasn't in bad position.
Oh, you can see she goes up and thinks she didn't get a read on the disc at all. And as she jumped trying to maybe mask it, but unfortunately not seeing the disc, it's rather hard to D it.
Well, how about that? 3 D points for Alika Johnston. Every single one, Scandal has converted a break. So, and she's held on all.
I think that's the secret for Scandal.
Yeah, seriously.
Put in Johnston if you want a break.
And now Scandal very much in control of this game, up 10-7. Riot in need of 3 breaks to win this game. And dwindling time here in the second half.
O'Connor with the pull. Johnson brings down, centers to Ambler. Scandal setting the zone. Ambler throws the blade right over the top immediately to Fontanet. Now Burstein just outside the end zone. Quick work here from Riot. Fontanet fakes and Burstein finds the end zone. That whole possession created by Gwen Ambler, seeing Fontanet on the sidelines, breaking through the cup, something they weren't having at all in previous points. You can see here just right over the top, and after that they have 3 players past, and Scandal's just trying to catch up, unable to do so. Burstein to Fontanet, and Fontanet fakes hard and finds Burstein wide open in the end zone.
And what makes this possible is the wind. They're going downwind in this situation, so that over-the-top throw gets to Fontanet so much faster than it would have been had that been an upwind throw, and gives Jorgenson no opportunity to even make a play or get near there. So the wind, going downwind, neutralizes Jorgenson's speed some and allows that Riot zone offense to be effective. There's Fontanet. We talked a lot about her yesterday. Longtime player. Played for Brute Squad, a few years for Fury. She's been all over the place and one of the greats in the game. Definite Hall of Famer down the road.
Second ever to win the Callahan Award.
The second ever to win the Callahan Award at Stanford University.
Now Riot trying to get a couple of those breaks back. Take him with an enormous pull. O'Connor brings it down. Burstein tight. Riot fired up on this point, realizing they need to dig deep. Get some D as it goes up. Zonizer's there, and Bailey Zonizer gets a D. I don't think Riot's quite done.
Yeah, that was a great pull and great coverage from Riot on that pull that led to that block there from Zonheiser, and Zonheiser making a big play as well.
Now Titcomb picks up. Over to Zonizer. Zonizer across to Kingery. Kingery back to Burstein. Burstein breaks inside to McKibben. McKibben puts it out to Crayley, and there is a break. It almost seems like since Gwen Ambler decided to throw that blade over the top, that Riot is back.
Yeah, this does feel very different than we saw for the previous few points when Riot was getting broken. A little more aggressive, a little more assertive Riot offense, and you gotta like seeing that. You know, this is a team that has a lot of talent, and when they put it together and realize how good they are, I mean, they're a team that can make a lot of plays. It's a nice IO throw from Burstein that opens that one up. An easy throw out to space to Crayley.
Burstein getting involved a lot here on the offense, scoring that offensive point, and then creating the space for Crayley.
And she was the first one down for Riot too on that pull, putting pressure on that initial throw, denying them the look that they wanted. And there is Bailey Zonizer with the taped on 1, not actually Kate Kingery. I think she may have forgotten her jersey. I don't know if you
As
noticed
announcers, we appreciate it, though.
Yeah. Well,
Makes our job a little bit easier.
Well, Zahnizer, an easy one to find on the field. The way she moves, very good athlete, big playmaker. Not hard to notice her. I don't know if you noticed, actually, in that last point, that one was like falling off the back of her her jersey, her taped-on one.
Someone needs to give her a pat on the back. Pull goes up. O'Connor brings it down, centers to Johnston. Right, it's defensive intensity really picking up here. Johnson almost with the D. Crayley there. Johnson on the mark. O'Connor with it. Swung all the way across the field to Hudson.
I like this junky look here from Riot. Lots of switching. They're letting the handlers go. They're giving easy resets. But now Scandal seems to be working through it just fine.
Ito up to Hudson. Give and go, working it up the field. In the middle now with Johnston. Johnston looks to White. White marked by McKeon. Oh, and just a little bit of a miscommunication there. Riot generates a D, looking to tie it up, get a couple breaks here in a row.
And that's poor reset discipline there. Just maybe a little unclear what the system is. A1, Alicia White, looking to hit Johnson right away, and as soon as Johnson sees the eye contact, she starts going up line.
Zahnizer to Mercer, and the sail throws just a little too far. Johnson with it, now to White. Across to Johnston, to Hudson, to Ito, working that sidelines. Back to Hudson, in the middle with Johnston. Riot staying with their poachy man D. O'Connor with it, now to White on the sidelines. Crayley shutting down upfield. O'Connor with it. Marked by Stern. O'Connor breaks inside to Daly. Daly marked by Crayley. And Daly, second time this point that resets have just not quite worked out for him. Just a miscommunication before that one, a poor execution on the dump throw. Now Johnson picks up. McKibben streaking deep, still streaking. Mercer with it on the side, marked by Ito. Ito across to Stern. Stern all the way over to McKeon. Now at midfield, looks dump, now looks downfield. Johnson jogging back for the dump. Now looks downfield, back to Stern. Zahnizer open in the middle, Stern looks her off. McKeon finds Zahnizer. Zahnizer fakes the around break and dumps to Stern. McKibben under, Zahnizer clears out. Zahnizer in the middle. Now Zahnizer fakes, looks deep, holsters, finds Crayley under. Nice 20-yard gainer there. Crayley back to Stern. We do have a call downfield, believe it was a pick. You can see Riot tiring a bit here. They want this point. Big point for them.
Well, again, a lot of turnovers at this point. Definitely to the advantage of Riot, given their depth here at this tournament.
Johnson across to Crayley. Crayley to Zahnizer, just outside the end zone, and just off the hands of McKeon. That throw a little bit wide from Zahnizer. It did hit McKeon in the hand, just a tough one coming down, riding that wind down, just really got to snag it.
It looks like McKeon's also coming off with an injury. Let's take another look at it. Oh, she came down on her head pretty hard. So she's going to take one.
Boyden subs in for her.
And the wind picking up here, making this upwinder for Scandal particularly hard. Johnston to pick the disc up. And it looks like Riot in a very poachy set here.
McKibben hanging out in the lane, Stern guarding the dump. And Johnston forced to put it deep.
A1.
And Alicia White comes down with it. Did you call her A1?
A1 is her nickname.
Steak sauce?
Yeah, I like the steak sauce.
That was saucy. Inside with O'Connor. Now to Daly. Daly dumps to O'Connor. Backs it to White. And White rips it. Zonizer, full effort, not quite. Now on the side with Ito. Ito puts it out to space. Daly's there, and Daly with the pancake layout.
I think Johnson maybe trying to call this one down, asking Daly if she caught it, and Daly's nodding, saying, yes, I definitely had that one. Johnson doing her best convincing here. Let's take a look at it.
That is tough. Looks like she caught the leading edge. She pancaked the leading edge, and then it slides through.
That's why you don't pancake layout catches. You got to catch on the rim, because that lower arm, when the elbow hits the ground, it is hard to maintain that possession. And this one's a close one. I'm not sure if she actually dropped it. Very hard to see. It looked like maybe her right hand was even sliding onto the rim. Either way, the observers are going to rule this one a catch. And this is a huge swing of momentum here. Riot so close to the break there on that throw to McKeon. And then Scandal working this one upwind with a lot of big plays. That catch by Alicia White on the sideline. And then that swing all the way across where Zonizer almost got the block. And then this big catch here by Daly.
Daly. We're going to come in here with the Patagonia play of the game. It is Kimberly Beach saving a possession here for their second break. Throw goes up, stall count was high, and Beach saves possession. You can see Johnston just slings it out there. Maybe Jorgenson's going to come down with it, but Beach, full extension, really redeems herself for earlier in the game, having a couple of early drops.
That's not an easy catch, left-handed, and it's coming in low and hard. An unexpected throw. Big play from Beach there, and that was a big break for Scandal in the first half.
Now Riot having to go into the wind. Got to anticipate Scandal's going to come down here in their zone set.
And Johnston not on the field at this point. That was a long O point for Scandal, so giving her a much-needed rest here.
Oh, and Scandal mixes it up. They come down in a man. Weatherford looking dump now to Ambler.
I'm going to correct myself. Johnston is on the field, actually guarding Rory Titcomb.
Across now with Titcomb. Johnston on her. Ambler in the middle. Ambler across to Kwai. Stagnant downfield from Riot. They're able to move it with their handlers to Weatherford. Weatherford pumps the inside. Now dumps to Titcomb directly behind. We do have a pick called. Excuse me, we have an injury called. Fontanet coming out for a sub. Still unsure who's coming on here.
I also didn't see what happened there. I'm not sure what the injury was. Looks like Rachel Bradshaw coming on for Riot. I have to say, on this possession, it's the first time where it looks to me like Scandal's legs may be a problem. They seem like they're a little behind. They're not putting a ton of pressure on those cutters, the same level of pressure we've seen downfield. And I wonder, particularly for those players who've been playing in the cup for this whole game, if maybe the points have been getting to them.
I would think that only having 14 players, eventually your legs are going to wear down with all these points. Now disc back in. Kingery with it just outside the end zone. Kingery looking towards the end zone. Breaks around to Titcomb, and Titcomb finds the end zone. Riot able to score. Cuts Scandal's lead back down to 1. On that one, Kingery, stall count maybe getting a little high. Forced to throw a shot to the end zone, and Titcomb able to toe the line.
There's good defense here from Scandal across the board, but the mark It's a little too drawn over to the forehand side. And Kingery recognizes, as does Titcomb, and steps out for that easy backhand around for the break throw. Good recognition there from Titcomb and great throw from Kingery. And again, it feels like the wind is picking up even more here, Jackson. And that was an upwinder.
Riot been sticking with their poachy defense, kind of a man on the handlers, then a wall with usually Mercer or Crayley deep. Weatherford staying in on this defensive point. Pull goes up from Kwai. Johnston brings it down. Riot is in their poachy zone. Cardenas on the mark, being very active. Johnston unaffected. Now with Hudson. Hudson around O'Connor. O'Connor swings across to Hudson. Up the field to White. White back to Hudson. In the middle now with O'Connor. O'Connor back to Hudson. Up the field with White. Finding a crease over there on that far side. Now with Johnston. Riot switching to man now. Daly back in the middle. Daly making cuts all day long. In and out, scoring goals. Very frustrating as Riot defenders try and guard her. Alicia White with it on the sides. Now across to O'Connor. O'Connor looks downfield. White up the line. There's Daly going to the end zone, and Daly is everywhere. I feel like it Jorgenson's first half and Daly's second half.
Oh, Daly had 3 goals in the first half as well. I think that brings her to 5 goals on the game here for Scandal. And Scandal at 12-10 really closing in on this, what I would call an upset victory. I mean, Scandal obviously defending national champs, but Riot, you know, world champs coming into this. And Scandal obviously down a lot of players, but playing very well here. Good patience here for Scandal, working through that zone defense. That zone defense, if you're trying to figure out what it is, what Riot's throwing, it looks like a cup when it gets towards the sidelines, but then when it gets towards the middle of the field, the middle of the cup is actually man on straight up, and the 2 points of the cup are actually backing up and playing in the lanes on either side of the mark. So they're trying to force it to the sideline when the disc is in the middle of the field, and then when the disc is on the sideline, you're trying to force it back to the middle of the field, but changing the shape of those 3 up front. Then you have 3 in the back and 1 deep.
Now Riot having to go into the wind for their offensive point. There's Wickner with the pull. O'Malley gets it right in the middle with Titcomb. Cardenas in the middle, cutting in the space.
Scandal back in their zone defense. And you know, we've been talking about this wind, but neither team seem to have much trouble with the wind. I think we've seen more upwind scores in this game than downwinders.
Titcomb with it in the middle. Jorgenson sitting deep. Fontanet with it, now with Ambler. Ambler to Fontanet. Back to Ambler. Ambler across to Kingery. Kingery to O'Malley. O'Malley with the hard backhand to McKibben. McKibben pumps hard. Back to O'Malley. O'Malley to Titcomb. Titcomb to Ambler. And here's Scandal transitioning to their man. Ambler looks downfield, now back at the dump. High release to Titcomb, low release, over to Kingery. Kingery dumps to Titcomb. Ambler making moves in the middle. Now Ambler with it. Ambler looks off Fontanet. Now across the field to Cardenas. Cardenas marked by Jorgenson. Jorgenson with a big mark. Titcomb looks around and with a low outside throw, excuse me, Now Ambler finds Kingery. That was smooth offense there from Riot. Patient. They worked it across the field as Scandal transitioned from their zone to their man. It's really when they gained a lot of their yards, and then once they could dump and swing, created the space.
I have to say I love this game. I think this is a fascinating upwind offense to watch. Great movement from Riot. Both teams are running these zone defenses that they're transitioning out of, putting a lot of pressure, and then you put the offense, the next offensive going upwind again, and so we get to see that same kind of pressure again. Great movement from Riot. This is an excellent offensive game that we've been watching.
So Scandal leads 12-11.
A nice catch by Ambler here. She sprained her left wrist yesterday. Missed some time, actually went to the hospital and had x-rays. But the x-rays were negative.
She's giving high fives with it right there. Must not be bothering her too much.
Yeah. And she is having a fantastic season. I think I mentioned this earlier, but had a tremendous World Club Championship. She was an all-star in the finals against Fury in Riot's victory there, 16-14. Just looked fantastic. And then here, all weekend long, she's been making plays, both offensively and defensively.
Hey, Fresh. Yeah, I know, but it's 11-12 over there, and it says 10-11 on the board. O'Connor with it on the sides. Now with Johnston. That's Coy with it on the side. Now in the middle with White. And Johnson able to poach through. Boyden putting it deep immediately to Kwai. And Kwai just outside. So close to scoring. Excellent D there from Kelly Johnson. Very heads up. Boyden with it. Johnson going up line, marked by O'Connor. Boyden with the foul call.
Alicia White on the mark call for the foul. And great, we talked about that D earlier. Let's watch this offensive play here. Boyden.
And Mercer scores the goal. Riot getting a break back. Brings it even at 12s.
So Scandal got a very similar D earlier in the game where Alika Johnson stepped off that second reset handler and poached in the lane. This time Kelly Johnson doing it, and now Riot showing their fast break. Angelica Boyden picking this one up really quickly as you see Johnson get the block, and then Boyden right away recognizing that Kawhi's got steps deep and hits Johnson right on the goal line. And then some smooth offense here as Boyden throws a little bit of it around to Charlie Mercer for the goal. And now we're all tied up. And it looks like Riot's taking a timeout. So tied up at 12s. So Jackson, do you think the legs here at this point for Scandal might be getting to them after the long weekend and this tight, close game?
I would imagine so. They're burning a timeout probably to get a little bit of rest here, maybe figure out the exact line that they want for this big point coming up.
Well, they've still got the advantage. They're on offense, and they're going downwind here. There's still a lot of work for Riot to do to pull out the victory.
Scandal trying to pump themselves up. Got a line out there of Hudson, Coy, Ito, Johnston, White, O'Connor, and Daly.
I have to say, given Jorgenson's athleticism and how dynamic she is and how she changed the game, I'm surprised they have not pulled her over to any O-lines at this point. I think at 12-12, the game's coming down to it, and, you don't want to get broken, especially going downwind. And having a receiver like Jorgenson out there gives you a lot more options.
Let's not forget about Daly out there. She's been making plays all over the place, doing her best Jorgensen impersonation.
Well, certainly. Daly's playing very well, but having Jorgensen out there lowers everyone's matchup, gives Daly an even easier matchup. You can use Jorgensen as a decoy to spring Daly even more open.
Now White with it.
Alika Johnston, wow.
Excellent catch there. And the fiery fake. Here's O'Connor in the middle. O'Connor to Daly. Daly pancakes. Daly looking deep. Mercer on the mark. Daly looking dump. Johnston clears out. O'Connor with her. Now back just over the outstretched hand of Hudson. Now Riot with an opportunity to get a break and take the lead in this game.
And they're slow playing this one. Getting set.
Tickham picks up. Kwai streaks deep. Cardenas in the middle. Now Tickham finds Johnson. Johnson to Tickham. Tickham looks off Burstein, back to Johnson. Johnson looking to swing. And a huge D there from Alicia White.
Looks like a call. He's going to bring this one back, but Alicia White making a play here.
She doesn't want to give that disc up.
I don't know what the call is. I think this might be it might have been a pick call going into Johnson, like on the previous throw.
It must have been.
Because there was definitely, I mean, there's no mark on Kelly Johnson, so it's certainly not a foul call by Johnson. And I think Tidcombe's the one that stopped the play or was trying to communicate that there had been a stoppage.
Disc with Johnson. Now on the side with Burstein. Burstein looks dump. Tickham up the line. Tickham to Burstein. Across to Johnson.
Great D from Johnson, closing the gap to Burstein. And Hannah Kwai ruled out of bounds by the observer on that catch.
Did all she could to keep it in bounds, but unable. It's great downfield defense by Scandal. O'Connor with it on the sidelines, marked by Johnson, and the disc goes out. Going up just too far. Wonder if the stall count maybe got a little high.
I mean, that was a really quick throw. I can't imagine that was a high stall throw. That was just, it looked like she picked it up and thought she saw something she liked, and I don't know, her receiver wasn't there.
Now Tickham brings it to the line, marked by Hudson. Cutting in the middle is Kwai and Mercer. Burstein clears out. Johnston poaching in the lane. Johnson with it. Johnson fakes inside.
Great defense from Alicia White in the lane there.
Tickham with it. Now across to Kwai. Burstein cuts in, now clears out. Tickham up line. Tickham going horizontal to get that one.
Oh, that's clean, baby!
Foul called. No contest from Hudson.
What a point block. That was impressive.
So Hudson not contesting this foul call.
Mercer wide open in the middle. We do have some confusion about placement.
Hudson looking fatigued on this point right now. And definitely these stoppages benefiting Scandal.
Finds Mercer. Mercer on the side. Tickham has her dump. Mercer to Boyden. Boyden to Johnson, and Johnson goes horizontal for that one. Dump to Tickham. Tickham looks downfield, doesn't find anything around to Johnson. Johnson inside to Mercer. Daly almost the D. Mercer to Boyden. Riot knocking on the door as the disc goes to the end zone. And Hannah Kwai comes down with it.
Fantastic grab by Kawhi. Boyden just put this one up to no one. Looks like there's no foul call here. And Kawhi goes up with 3 defenders around her and shows her athleticism. Boyne,
So-
that was an aggressive throw from Boyne. That is a big point for Riot. Upwind break to take the lead here, 13-12.
Pretty sure that was the game. And as the players cheer, that was the game. Fantastic play from Hannah Kwai. Collision. Excellent comeback here from Riot. Down 10-7, able to come back and take the victory here from Scandal. Scandal maybe just getting a little too tired. And Riot on to the finals of the 2014 Emerald City Classic. Stay tuned for more action from Next Gen. Our next game will be Atlanta's Chain taking on Chicago Machine. Please stay tuned for the men's semifinal action.